Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Nina, and today we're going to be doing part 2 of our DIY kitchen series, and I will be upgrading my countertops, making them to look like marble. Now, if you missed the first series, you can go ahead and click the link above, and you'll see how we painted the cabinets for under $100. Now, I hate these laminate countertops so bad. Now, just to give you a reminder, this is what the kitchen looked like before we painted anything. Now, to achieve this look, we're going to be using this Gianni countertop paint kit, and it has everything you need to achieve that faux marble look. Now, I tell everyone to have the best outcome in any DIY project, it's always start with your prep work. So here I am going in with my simple green cleaner, and I'm going to spray the countertops down, give it a good thorough cleaning scrub. You can use either a Brillo pad or a Scotch pad. That also helps roughen up the areas. You want to remove any dirt, grime, grease, anything that just built up on the counters is not going to give you a smooth, clean finish. Now, I did scrub these counters about 2 times because there was a lot of built up grease and dirt, and then you want to go in and wipe any of the chemical off. So I did wipe it down about 2 times also. Next, in the prep work, you want to go ahead and start taping off the areas. We did do 2 rolls of tape, and I highly recommend that anyone that's want to attempt this also to do the same, because you just never know where the paint or epoxy will go, and it really did come in handy. And I'm using the best tape there is for the project. It's that frog tape. I'll link it in the description. But taping, for whatever reason, it'd be so hard for me to get a straight line, but eventually I got it. So now, I know how to do it. So we go ahead and taping off all the areas. We're also going to tape off our sink. You can remove your sink, but I don't trust myself with plumbing. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to tape this off and let it be. And, I kind of use a knife to kind of get any of the tape off that was on the counters. Now, with the Gianni countertop marble kit, it comes with everything you need to achieve the look that you desire. There's a marble countertop paint, you have the resin, the activator, there's plastic, rollers, gloves, stirrers, brushes, there's the sponge, and even a spray bottle that's going to help you achieve that marble look. Now, I will link this in the description box. Now, one important thing to note is when you are doing the plastic, you do want to make sure you're covering all of your countertops, even the floor, because when you get to the epoxy part, it will come off the counters and on the floor. So we wanted to make sure that we are protecting our new cabinets, and we are putting the tape directly on our cabinets also, because that epoxy will roll over onto the floors or your cabinets if it's not covered. And if you want to know what paint we use for our cabinets, I will link that in the description as well. So we're doing both sides. We are also protecting our appliances. We are leaving no stone unturned. Again, that epoxy will roll to the floor, so you want to protect your floors. You want to protect your appliances. So we kind of created like a dam area on the side of our refrigerator. we covered everything. We covered everything. Now that all the prep work is done, we are moving on to step 1. So we're going to use the countertop base paint, and it's just the white. That's the color kit I chose. There are different ones. So we're going to go ahead, open it, stir it, and get the painting. Now, anyone purchase this kit, I do recommend you read the directions entirely, but it's very simple. This can actually be done over a weekend, but because we are a busy family, me and my husband and the kids really don't have time to do it on the weekend, so we decided to do this during the week. And Dad said, you know what, I want to help out. So every day we got our work, we got in that kitchen and tried to do something. We did have to shut the kitchen down for about a week's time, and that was because, it took us a little longer because, we're doing this during the week once we get off. So, taking the countertop paint, and I am painting the actual countertop while Dad is doing the backsplash part. And I am using the microfiber roller that came in the kit to just roll this paint on as if you were painting your wall or anything else. Now, because my countertops are darker, it will take at least 2 coats if you have darker countertops, but I did 3 just to be on the safe side, and I kind of like how the 3 coats turned out. And you do have to allow drying time in between those coats. You could do about an hour to 2 hours, but I think we did like 1 hour. Now here's the finished look after all 3 coats were dry. It's the next day, so we're ready to move on to step 2, and it looks so good. I was like, oh my god, it really covered. It's not chipped or anything. I'm so excited. Now the kit does come with this square piece of practice board to where you can draw your marble lines. And I must say that practice was really much needed. So right now what we're doing, we're going over how our pattern's going to be. I do recommend that you draw out your counter space. Maybe Google some pictures of marble so you know what type of look you want. Okay, so start here. Y'all know I'm silly and laugh at everything, but I was very nervous. Now I am using the thin paintbrush to draw the lines using the gray provided paint. And what you do is you just draw your squiggly lines once you know what look you're going for. And right now I'm just showing you how forgiving the paint is. So in the little squirt bottle, that is just water. The squirt bottle does come in the kit also. So you'll just draw a squiggly line. You would turn your brush when you're painting the lines. You only want to do half the line first, so you'll know how I want to go. Then you'll get the big feathered brush and just kind of feather it out. You'll spray a little water that helps give the little effect you want. But I kept messing up, so what you saw me doing is just I keep spraying the whole thing and wiping it down with a paper towel and starting over. So now I kind of finally like, okay, I like how this look, let me keep going. So I'm only doing the big major veining, and you do that first. So you will see I am not taking it to the edge of the counters or on the backsplash part, because you want to put your major veining in first. And I'm spraying the water to help blend the paint out, and cleaning your brush while you doing the blending. That was a big help. So I highly recommend everyone do that. Get your paper towel and as you dab, wipe that brush off. And then I'll go in and finish my second line. Now I kept going rogue and deviating from the plan because of course I was forgetting. So my husband kept coming in and was like, "No, what you doing? You ain't doing it right. You're supposed to be doing this way." And I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right." So I kept having to wipe it off and start over. So here's a more close-up look. As you see, I am just turning the brush as I paint it on. Oops, I may have forgot some spots, so I'll go in and add some more. It's nothing to it. It wasn't strategic. It's just putting line on there and turning the brush as you paint. That's how simple this is. Then you spray your water bottle. Why am I shaking this up like that? I have no idea. But go ahead and spray the water on it. And then you'll take the brush and just dab. Dab. Clean your brush. Dab some more. Until, it's at the desired look you want. And if you remove, some paint, just go back in and put some more. I'm telling you, this was so simple and easy. I had so much fun with this project. Now, once all of your major lines are in, I would say step back, look at it, see if there's something you want to add, take off. That's the time to do it. Once that's done, now you go into the edges of the countertops, along with if you got the backsplash on the counters, and add that. You want to be mindful of it does a little dripping and running, so less is always more when it comes to doing the backsplash. And on mine, it was because I have the top part also on the side, so I had to kind of like really get creative with mine. Okay, so now that my lines are drawn, now I'm going in and adding depth. This time I spray first and put paint second. And it's just squiggly little lines, nothing major. And then I'm going to blend till I like it. If I don't like it, I'm going to wipe it off, try another area. Okay, now on to the next step of adding depth. Now I did let the lines dry, so they're probably about an hour to dry. And now I am using the second white paint set, and I'm taking a sponge and I'm just literally dabbing on some white paint. And when I say dabbing, I'm talking about lightly, I'm barely touching the countertops. and that also gives it more definition. I don't think it's transitioning real well on the camera, but in person it looks really, really good. So, I'm just putting it in, and on some areas I felt like I was covering, I took away a lot of the gray. Even though I wanted to have a light gray look, that was my desired look, I had to go in and put a little more, gray back in there. But doing this step, it does add more definition to your marble veining. And I liked it. But you can, skip this step. I did like it without it, but I love it even more with it. I can say that. Now, if you was going to do this in the same day, you would have to let your veining dry for 4 hours, but we did this the next day. So this is how it looks. I love how it turned out. I like how the definition is, the shading, the veining. I'm here for it all. So we are ready for the final step number 3, and I'm excited. Now it's time for the epoxy. Now, I would highly recommend that you do use gloves when you're mixing this and also applying it. We didn't use gloves applying it, but hey, it is what it is. So you're going to take the epoxy, 1 can of the epoxy and 1 can of the activator, and you need to stir it thoroughly for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. You want to make sure you get all of the activator out of that container and stir. You want to make sure you do this because you want it to be even. Now he's pouring the epoxy on the countertops, and we are purposely not going all the way back on it, and that is because you don't want it to pool in the back. So first step is you would take a brush and paint the backsplash with epoxy. So you're going to do all the backsplash. I'm getting around the sink so you can get in there crevices. And what my husband's doing, he's going in with some tweezers because, if, there's dust or hair or something falling in the epoxy, you definitely want to make sure you get that out. We do have a vent in the kitchen, but we do have it closed. So I highly recommend, if you have a vent near, fans, windows, close that stuff because you do not want debris to get in your paint or your epoxy because it's going to live there. Now, once that backsplash is painted, you're just going to take the foam roller and just simply glide the epoxy. I am not painting the epoxy. I am just gliding the epoxy across the countertops. You want to make sure you get an even coat on it, that all areas are covered, and you will take this to the edge of the counter. You do want it to spill over because you want to have a finished look. And when it's drying, because it's a leveling system, it will level out and it's gonna come over. So that's why I said make sure y'all put that plaster down and cover any and everything you don't want epoxy to get on, because it's gonna drip off the counters. Now, since I am finishing the other half of the countertop, my husband has went ahead and started setting up the second set of activator and epoxy. So again, you're going to do the same thing, stir for those 3 minutes and 30 seconds. We're going to pour it on the countertops, start with the backsplash first, and then you work your way on the countertops with the roller and bringing it to the edge and make sure everything is covered. Now, once you do this, I highly recommend that you go in with a really bright light and make sure that all areas are covered. Make sure there's no hairs in there. There's no bubbles. You can pop some of them with tweezers. Other than that, the bubbles will pop on their own. And now here's the finished look. There were just a few spots that I had to go back in and put a little epoxy on because I missed it for some reason. But again, that bright light really do come in handy to make sure all areas are covered. So now we're going to let this dry for about 2 hours. Now, while it's leveling out, it's going to actually be dripping over the edge. So you may want to go in with the brush to make sure you don't get those drip marks underneath your countertops. Now, after letting the epoxy start curing for about an hour, you definitely want to go in and remove the tape. I repeat, you definitely want to go in and remove the tape. If you do not, that stuff is going to cement to your counter and be ready to have that as a permanent addition of your countertops. So go in, pull that tape off, plastic off, and be careful so it does not drop in your epoxy, because again, even though it's been an hour, it's still really, really wet and it's extremely sticky right now. So we had to be very careful with pulling this up, making sure we're not leaning into it. We had to be very mindful, very demure with doing this. Now, because that epoxy was so sticky at this moment, we wish we had gloves on, but at this point it was like 1 a.m. and we had work the next day, meaning we had to be up at about like 5 or 6 in the morning. So we're just kind of delirious and ready to get this over with. So we're pulling it off and it's just like epoxy all over our hands. But go in, get everything off, use tweezers. We had some hard areas around the sink. So again, I say if you can remove your sink, I recommend it. If you cannot, tape around it as much and pull as much of this tape off once done. But you know, when we taped it off, it came up pretty good. We only had a few trouble spots that we had to get in with some tweezers. As you can see, that's what my husband doing now. But it came out really, really well. And to remove the epoxy off your hand, we kept using some Dawn dish detergent, but the only thing worked was some vinegar. Wash your hands with vinegar, it comes right off. Now, here is the before countertops. They were just the standard laminate countertops. Hated them, ready to get rid of them, wanted to upgrade them, but did not have it in the budget. And here is the after. For a little under $200, I was able to upgrade my countertops to look like faux marble, and I am in love with the after. Now, if you guys enjoyed this DIY video and you want to see more or see the next step in this upgrade, subscribe to the channel. See you next video. Bye.